pressures of modern living begin to compromise the quality of your life, then it is time to take a firm grip on yourself. It is time for yoga. This ancient blend of movement, meditation and mindful breathing will help you stretch out inside, reinvigorating your life with a refreshing sense of possibility and joy. There seems to be something magical about the practice of yoga that nurtures in us the courage to head boldly in the direction of our dreams, to extend fully into our true potential. May peace, good health and happiness be always with you. Veerabhadrasana, named for a fierce warrior, an incarnation of Shiva, this version of warrior pose is said to increase stamina. Stand in Tadasana. With an exhalation, step 3.5 to 4 feet apart. Raise your arms parallel to the floor and reach them actively out to the sides, shoulder blades wide, palms down. Turn your right foot in slightly to the right and your left foot out to the left 90 degrees. Align the left heel with the right heel. Firm your thighs and turn your left thigh outward so that the center of the left kneecap is in line with the center of the left ankle. Exhale and bend your left knee over the left ankle so that the shin is perpendicular to the floor. Inhale and lift the arms over the head with the palms facing each other with the index finger pointing up. Carefully arch back and look up towards the ceiling. Breathe and hold for 8 to 10 breaths. Repeat on the other side. The asana strengthens and stretches the legs and ankles, stretches the groin, chest, lungs, shoulders, stimulates abdominal organs, increases stamina, relieves backaches, especially through second trimester of pregnancy. On the therapeutic front, the asana is good for those suffering from flat feet, infertility, osteoporosis and sciatica. As a word of caution, those suffering from diarrhea should avoid this pose. Ushtrasana. One good preparatory pose for Ushtrasana is Vajrasana to get the feeling of your shins pressing into the floor. Ushtrasana is a wonderful back bend for bringing increased vitality to the organs of respiration. To perform the asana, kneel on the floor with your knees hip width and thighs perpendicular to the floor. Press your shins and the tops of your feet firmly into the floor. Twist to one side to get one hand on the same side foot. Turn your torso back to neutral and touch the second hand to its foot. Press your palms firmly against your soles or heels, with the bases of the palms on the heels and the fingers pointing toward the toes. Drop your head back, but be careful not to strain your neck and harden your throat. Stay in this pose anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. To exit, inhale and lift the head and torso up by pushing the hip joints down towards the floor. The asana stretches the entire front of the body, the ankles, thighs, groin, abdomen, chest, and throat. Stretches the deep hip flexors. Strengthens back muscles. Improves posture. Maintains a youthful look. And is very good for hunched backs and dropping shoulder. Stimulates the organs of the abdomen and neck. As a word of caution, those suffering from high or low blood pressure, migraine, insomnia, serious low back or neck injury should not perform this asana. Supta Vajrasana. In the spiritual teaching known under the name Mahayana, Vajra is the emblem, the attribute of the highest spiritual power, weapon of the god Indra. To perform the asana, sit with your legs stretched out in front of you. Slowly bend the right leg and keep the heel tight under the buttock. Bring the left leg under the left buttock. Keep the knees close to each other, spine straight, the head, shoulders and buttocks in a vertical line. Rest the palms on the upper part of the thighs or covering the knees. Recline slowly backwards, taking the body weight on the right elbow first and then the left. Lie flat on the back, keep the knees close together, touching the ground. There should never be more than normal pressure on the back, arms and the ankle joints while doing this asana. Retain the position for 2 minutes. Return to the normal position by reversing the process. This asana massages the abdominal organs, alleviating digestive ailments and constipation. It tones the spinal nerves, makes the back flexible, and realigns rounded shoulders. The nerves in the neck and the thyroid gland are particularly influenced. The chest is stretched and expanded to full capacity, filling the lungs and bringing more oxygen into the system. It is beneficial for those suffering from asthma, bronchitis, and other lung ailments. It loosens up the legs in preparation for sitting in meditation asanas. It enhances creativity and intelligence and redirects sexual energy to the brain for spiritual purposes. This posture should not be practiced by people suffering from sciatica, slip disc, sacral ailments, or knee complaints. Parshvottanasana. Begin in Tadasana with feet hip distance apart. On an inhalation, extend your arms and bring them behind your back into the reverse prayer Namaste, with the palms pressing together and the fingers facing up towards your neck. Stay here long enough to experience both the physical and the psychological benefits of this gesture of repose. Hold the pose for 20 seconds. The asana opens and releases the deep muscles of the hips, improves flexibility of the wrists, provides a deep opening for the shoulders, cools and calms both body and mind. As a word of caution, this pose may exacerbate sciatica. Those with carpal tunnel syndrome should be cautious of placing the hands in prayer position behind the back. Prasarita Pada Hastasana. How would you like one magical pose that can open up your entire body? An enjoyable pose that will stretch your legs, relieve tension in your back, neck and shoulders, and boost your energy. Prasarita Pada Hastasana is a standing, wide-legged forward bend. This is one of those poses that feels so good that you may want to take breaks to do it throughout your day. To perform the asana, take a slow, deep breath. Then step sideways with your feet anywhere from 3 to 4.5 feet apart, depending on your height. Make sure your feet are parallel to each other. Exhale and lean the torso forward from the hip joints. As your torso approaches parallel to the floor, press your fingertips onto the floor directly below your shoulders. Extend your elbows fully. Your legs and arms then should be perpendicular to the floor and parallel to each other. Take a few more breaths and then, with an exhalation, bend your elbows and lower your torso and head into a full forward bend. Make sure as you move down that you keep your front torso as long as possible. Press your inner palms actively into the floor. Stay in this pose anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute. To come out, bring your hands back on the floor below your shoulders and swing the torso up. Return to the Tadasana pose. The more you practice Prasarita Pada Hastasana, the more you will experience the great feeling this one pose provides. Not only does your whole body get an invigorating opening, but your heart gets a chance to sing. While you rest in the pose with your breath moving freely, your heart becomes full like a ripe fruit. The nectar of your inner being then flows down from your heart into your head and calms the mind. The efficacy of the asana is seen by the wide range of benefits you derive at various levels. Physically, strengthens and stretches the inner and back areas of the legs and the spine, tones the abdominal organs, and is very good for prostrate gland enlargement. The asana directly draws focus to the brain, liver, kidneys, hamstrings, calves, hips, groin, knees, and spine. The asana promotes the circulation of blood to the head, thus giving relief from headache, fatigue, and depression. As a word of caution, those who suffer from lower back problems should avoid the full forward bend. Pada Hastasana. This asana implies a forward bend of the trunk, touching or grasping the toes with the hands. To perform the asana, from Tadasana pose, inhale and lift your hands out to the sides and move them overhead, stretching tall. As you exhale, bend forward from your hips, keeping your spine straight, and reach down as far as possible on your legs. Inhale and then exhale as you lengthen your spine. Continue breathing and relaxing, bending forward only as far as you can keep a straight spine. When you reach your deepest forward bend, inhale and lengthen your spine one last time. Go further into the forward bend only through relaxation, not through effort. To exit, release your hands, then, on an inhalation, bring your hands out to the sides and up over your head as you bring your torso back to the vertical position. Finish the inhalation by stretching tall through your fingertips. Then exhale into Tadasana. Pause to integrate the effects of the pose. The practice of this asana makes the shoulders strong and the waist thin. The abdominal organs are toned. The quantity of gastric secretions is greater, and the spleen and the liver are more active. This asana cures different gastric disorders. Displaced vertebrae gradually regain their correct position, beneficial to those suffering from depression. Other beneficial effects of this asana include physical growth in height, reaching a normal weight, and an elastic spine. Halasana. This graceful posture, which superbly stretches the whole body, is one of the most important poses of yoga. It is often performed as a continuation of the Sarvangasana, to which it is closely related. This pose is especially beneficial when you are tired. To perform the asana, lie flat on the back, the legs fully extended together. Swing the legs overhead, straightening them and supporting the body on the neck and shoulders. Use the backs of the upper arms as props, pressing the fingers on the backs of the ribs with the thumbs separate and placed below the hips. Keep the elbows in, close to the body as in Sarvangasana. Now, slowly lower the straight legs behind the head. Their own weight should take them down until the toes rest on the floor. Stretch arms on the floor in the direction opposite to the legs. Breathe without holding the breath. You can stay in this position for a duration of 10 to 15 minutes. Throughout this asana, keep your eyes shut and inwardly try to look at the tip of your nose. To come out of this posture, bend the knees, take the buttocks back and slowly slide down, keeping palms alongside hips. The asana keeps the entire spine supple and youthful and stretches the whole body. It slims the abdomen, hips and legs. It activates the circulation, nourishing the roots of the spinal nerves, the facial tissues and the scalp. It aids digestion and bowel action. It is held to be excellent for the endocrine glands, the liver, the spleen and the reproductive organs, and to correct menstrual disorders. The posture is not suitable for persons with weak vertebrae. Do not force yourself at any stage. Dhanurasana. The Sanskrit word dhanush means a bow. In this asana, the hands are used like a bow string to pull the legs, trunk and the head simultaneously. The pose then resembles the bow. The bow or Dhanurasana yoga posture raises both halves of the body at once, combining the movements of the cobra and locust and countering the plow and the forward bend. To perform the asana, lie down on a mat on your stomach. Bring your feet up by bending your knees. Hold your ankles with both your hands. Breathe in. Use the force of your hands. Pull your feet so your thighs are off the floor. Lift your head, shoulders and chest from the floor. Hold this pose for around 5 to 8 seconds, more if possible. The entire weight of your body would essentially be concentrated on your navel area. Exhale when returning to the normal position. Over a period of time, hold the pose from 15 seconds to 2 minutes. The benefits of the asana are: tones the back muscles, maintains the elasticity of your spine, improves posture and increases vitality, reduces abdominal fat, keeps the digestive and reproductive systems healthy, effective for bronchitis, asthma, constipation, diabetes and rheumatism. This asana prevents the premature calcification of the vertebral joints, and it acts on the ligaments, muscles and nervous centers placed along the spine. The massage of the solar plexus reduces anxiety. The acceleration of the breath, the decongestion of the solar plexus, the activation of the digestive system, the improvement of the blood flow in the cellulite or fat tissues through a profound massage. All these are factors which make this asana a valuable help in the fight against cellulite. Individuals suffering from the following health conditions should not perform this asana: heart disease, hypertension, hernia, colitis. Paschimottanasana, first among asanas, directs the flow of pranavayu along Sushumna Nadi. In Sanskrit, Paschima refers to back or west, and Utthana means extension or bend. Thus, the term Paschimottanasana is translated as the posture of posterior extension. To perform the asana, sit on the floor, legs together. Stretch forward. Inhale and slowly raise the hands from the sides till they reach a vertical position. Keep both the arms parallel to each other, and so stretch the spine. As you exhale slowly, bend forward by maintaining the stretch of the hands. Without bending at the knees, bend the elbows and bend the neck. Take the forehead near the knees. Maintain final position for 1 to 3 minutes. To release the posture, inhale and raise both the hands. Make your back straight and stretch hands again. Exhale and slowly take the hands down. Come to the initial sitting position. Don't overstretch to reach the final position on the very first day if you find it difficult. Know your limitations and increase your forward bend gradually. Seated forward bend provides a deep stretch for the entire backside of the body from the heels to the neck. Forward fold calms the nervous system and emotions and stimulates the reproductive and urinary systems. This asana stretches the hamstring muscles and improves the flexibility of spine and hip joints. The nerves of the spinal column are also stimulated by stretching of the spine. It tones and massages the entire abdominal and pelvic region and stimulates glands, kidneys and liver, improves digestion. This posture is recommended for diabetes and hemorrhoids conditions. This asana also has beneficial effects on the waist, making it thinner, and eliminates the unaesthetic deposits of fat from the abdomen and hips, and is extremely efficient in fighting obesity. This asana favors a better blood circulation in the entire body, and especially in the pelvic area, owing to the extension of this particular region. The sexual glands may easily absorb the necessary quantity of blood, generating as a result an increase in virility. Impotence and sexual weakness are consequently rapidly eliminated. The practice of this asana, owing to the decongestion of the solar plexus, helps in the diffusion of anxious state. The mind becomes stable and calm. People suffering from slip disc, sciatica, any acute diseases of abdomen, digestive system, diseases like hydrocele, hernia and severe stiffness of back giving rise to severe backache should not practice this asana. Matsyasana. Matsya, the fish, was one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu who assumed this form to save the world from floods. The Matsyasana or fish yoga pose is the counter pose to the shoulder stand and must always be practiced after it. Having stretched the neck and upper spine in the shoulder stand, you now compress them as you arch back, relieving stiffness in your neck and shoulder muscles and correcting any tendency to develop rounded shoulders. To perform the asana, lie on your back on the floor with your knees bent, feet on the floor. Inhale. Lift your pelvis slightly off the floor and slide your hands palms down below your buttocks. Then, rest your buttocks on the backs of your hands and straighten the legs. Be sure to tuck your forearms and elbows up close to the sides of your torso. Now, as you inhale, lift your upper torso and head away from the floor. Then, place your head back onto the floor. Depending on how high you arch your back, either the back of your head or its crown will rest on the floor. There should be a minimal amount of weight on your head to avoid crunching your neck. Keep your thighs active and press out through the heels. As a rule of the thumb, the duration of hold in the asana must be at least half the time spent in the Sarvangasana. This helps to counterbalance the stretch of the Sarvangasana. With an exhalation, lower your torso and head to the floor. Matsyasana tones the chest, tones the nerves of the neck and back, and ensures that the thyroid and parathyroid glands obtain maximum benefit from the shoulder stand. It also expands the rib cage fully and increases the capacity of the lungs. While performing the asana, we should maintain our focus on the belly, chest, spine, shoulders and neck. The asana gives relief for individuals suffering from constipation, respiratory ailments, mild backache, fatigue, anxiety and menstrual pain. Once again, as a word of caution, those having high or low blood pressure, migraine, insomnia, serious lower back or neck injury should not perform the asana. Janu Shirasasana. Yoga works with the body and mind. Pushing, pulling, or any kind of aggression in yoga will only backfire, creating more tension and possibly injury. Janu Shirasasana is a forward bend asana for all levels of students. Janu Shirasasana, head to knee forward bend, is a challenging pose, especially for men. It can take quite a while for the hips, lower back and hamstrings to open up enough to allow the full range of motion in this asana. To perform the asana, sit with legs outstretched and back straight. Place the sole of the right foot firmly against the inside of the left thigh. Stretch arms overhead, straighten and open the spine upwards and lean slightly back. Inhale while doing all this. Bending from the hips, exhale and stretch forward, keeping the back as straight as possible. Rest the hands on the legs where it is comfortable to hold the pose. Keep the foot pointing up. Relax the abdomen and neck as the head rests forward. Hold for up to 1 minute if comfortable. Remember to breathe as you hold the pose. When coming out of the pose, inhale and straighten the spine as you stretch the arms overhead. Exhale as you lower the arms to your sides. Repeat with the other leg. Always hold the pose where it is comfortable, giving the muscles time to adapt and adjust to the stretch. Then, continue to gradually move farther into the pose. Enjoy the pose and listen to your body. This is your greatest protection for preventing injury. The asana has a wide range of benefits like stretches the spine, shoulders, hamstrings and groin, and the legs are toned and firmed, stimulates the liver and kidneys, improves digestion. With the abdominal muscles and organs being toned and stimulated, there is relief from constipation. People suffering from enlargement of the prostate gland will benefit from holding the pose for a bit longer. The nervous system is toned. The asana calms the brain, relieves anxiety, fatigue, headache, and menstrual discomfort. Therapeutic for high blood pressure, insomnia, and sinusitis. Always check with your doctor if you have any doubts or concerns regarding the suitability of this pose for you. The asana is not recommended to individuals with asthma, diarrhea, knee injury, and could aggravate sciatica. Ardha Matsyendrasana. This spinal twist yoga pose is one of the few yoga poses in the basic session that rotates the spine. To perform the asana, sit on the floor with your legs straight out in front of you. Bend your knees, put your feet on the floor, then slide your left foot under your right leg to the outside of your right hip. Lay the outside of the left leg on the floor. Step the right foot over the left leg and stand it on the floor outside your left hip. The right knee will point directly up at the ceiling. Exhale and twist toward the inside of the right thigh. Press the right hand against the floor just behind your right buttock and set your left upper arm on the outside of your right thigh near the knee. Pull your front torso and inner right thigh snugly together. With every inhalation, lift a little more through the sternum and hold the ankle or the big toe. Be sure to distribute the twist evenly throughout the entire length of the spine and turn the head to your left side as far as possible. Stay for 30 seconds to 1 minute. Then release with an exhalation. Return to the starting position and repeat on the opposite side. The asana stimulates the liver, kidneys and pancreas, stretches the shoulders, hips and neck, energizes the spine, stimulates the digestive fire in the belly, relieves menstrual discomfort, fatigue, sciatica and backache, therapeutic for asthma and infertility. Traditional texts say that Ardha Matsyendrasana increases appetite, destroys most deadly diseases and awakens the Kundalini. As a word of caution, those suffering from back or spine injury should not perform the asana.